Hello everyone, this is Dhanjit Daka and you are watching my YouTube channel Chemistry Tutorial. So guys, in the previous video we have discussed about harmonic oscillator and we have completed the angular momentum in quantum mechanics. So in this video I am going to discuss about the hydrogen atoms, okay? Quantum mechanics in case of hydrogen atoms we are going to discuss. So before starting the class, I like to tell you that whatever things I will discuss in this class, it is not useful in case of in the in the case of question solution part, okay? But in building up of this concept, it is very useful because I'm going to discuss about the fundamental things of hydrogen atom in this class, okay guys? So if you like to build up the basics of hydrogen atom and concepts of hydrogen atom in quantum mechanics, then you just watch this video till the end. So guys, without any further delay, let us start the video. So you see, in hydrogen atoms we'll discuss about different mesons in hydrogen atoms, okay? So you see, in hydrogen atoms, it is a simplest model of atomic model. In hydrogen atom, there is at the center there is a nucleus, okay? Around the nucleus there is an electron. It is revolving around the nucleus. So there are two types of motion are possible in this hydrogen atoms. The atom as a whole can translate in the it can move in the space. So you can consider a motion of a particle in the 3D space. That we have discussed in the model in the motion of a particle in 3D box, okay? So if you consider the motion of a hydrogen atom in the space, then you can use the concept of motion of a particle in the 3D box, okay? Then you can easily find out the energy and the respective wave function for hydrogen atoms. There is another motion, that is, this electron will revolve around this nucleus, okay? So we can consider the relative motion of electron. The relative motion of electron around the nucleus, okay? So in this video we just consider this motion, that is the relative motion of the electron around the nucleus of hydrogen atom, okay? So in hydrogen atom, you see the potential energy of the electron that is revolving around the nucleus. If the nuclear charge it is Ze(n) and the charge of the electron if it is -e, then the potential energy of this hydrogen atom would be minus of Ze square 4 pi epsilon naught into R, okay? This is from Coulombic attraction force. Now we consider the wave function that describe the motion of the electron around the nucleus. Suppose the wave function, let the wave function for electronic motion it is psi, okay? Therefore the Schrödinger equation would be, it is the Hamiltonian operator and E into psi. So it is the electronic energy of the electron. It is the wave function that describe the electronic motion of the relative motion of the electron in the hydrogen atom. So since we can consider this motion of the hydrogen atom electron in the hydrogen atom as a spherical motion, okay? Spherical motion of a particle in a spherical manner. So we can write the Hamiltonian operator as minus of h square 8 pi square m d square x square plus d square y square d square z square Okay, so this is the kinetic energy operator plus potential energy operator. We know that the potential energy is Z, so we can write minus of Z E square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into R. So this whole into psi and E of psi. So this is the Schrodinger equation. This Schrodinger equation, it is expressed in terms of Cartesian coordinate, where it is the kinetic energy operator and it is the potential energy operator. Now what we'll do, we will now transform this Cartesian coordinate into polar coordinate. That is, we are going to express this equation, Schrodinger equation of hydrogen atom, in terms of polar coordinate. So you should know, remember the kinetic energy operator in terms of polar coordinate. So in polar coordinate, the psi, it is a function of xyz, okay, in this case. But in polar coordinate, the psi will be the function of three variable, that is r, theta. Psi would be the function of r, theta and phi. So I am not writing here. So you just write the polar coordinate, polar expression. So it would be 1 by r square delta r square delta of r. You should remember this transformation. It is a very lengthy process, the transformation. And 1 by r square sine of theta delta of theta into r of sine theta d of sine theta. There is no r here, okay. And 1 by r square sine square theta d phi delta I square. So this is the kinetic energy operator in terms of polar coordinate. This would be psi, and we will left with the potential energy operator Z square 4 pi epsilon naught r into psi is equal to E of psi. So this is the Schrodinger equation in terms of polar coordinate, where psi is the function of three variable, that is r, theta and phi. But in this case, Cartesian coordinate, psi is a function of three variable, that is x, y and z. We just replace the kinetic energy operator here, okay. Now see, so since it is a very complex differential equation, okay, second order differential equation, so the solution of this equation is done by separation of variables. You say the function here, wave function psi, it is r, theta and phi, okay. This psi can be expressed as a product of three functions, that is r, that depends on r only, p, that is depends on theta, and phi, that depends on phi, okay. Since psi here, it depends on three variable, it can be expressed as a product of three functions, separate function r, p and f, where r depends on the r, small r, that is the distance from the nucleus to the electron, where it is the angle theta and it is the phi angle, okay. So we have already discussed what is theta angle and phi angle in the previous video. So if we express this, then the Schrodinger equation will be, it will be like h square 8 pi square m So in this case you will have only R P F divided by R square d delta of R square into d of R, then you will have 1 by R square sin theta delta of theta sin of theta and d theta. Here you write the capital theta it is P function, okay, and you consider here R and F. Simple partial derivation it is. So this term would become 1 by R square sin square theta. Here it is F dependent, okay. So here P and R will come out and you will left with into d square d of phi square. Into psi equal to, no psi will be there, we have already replaced it, and in place of here you will have z 4 pi epsilon naught into R P F in place of psi and E into R P F. Okay, so this is the Schrodinger equation. If we replace the psi by RPF as a product of three functions, R depend on small r, P depend on theta and F depend on phi. Now you multiply this equation by h square, multiply this equation by minus of 8 pi square m divided by h square, okay, into R square sin square theta plus divided by RP. If we divide this equation, the above equation, by this term, then it will become, I am writing this equation by directly since there is no space to write here. So if we multiply the above equation, the previous equation, by this quantity, then we will have an equation like this. You can calculate, okay. So you see in this equation, all the parts here, this part is dependent upon R and theta. This is dependent on R and theta, and this term is dependent on only theta part, okay. This is theta dependent part and this is only dependent on phi. So you consider here in this case that only the phi function, that is this function, is changes and the other function remain constant. If we consider like that, only phi is changes and R and theta remain constant, R and P remain constant. So if we then these two terms, this term and this term become 0, because since P is constant, then dP by d phi is also going to 0, and this become also 0. So this term and this term become 0. You will have left with this constant term and this term, okay. So this equation becomes, if we consider phi changes, only phi means that is f function. If changes and R and P remain constant, then this equation becomes, equation 1 becomes, this is the constant plus 1 by f (1 by phi equal to 0). So we can write 1 by f d square phi square equal to minus of constant. Suppose this constant it is, say it is m square. Okay, minus of m square. So you numberate this equation by a. Here you see this is a second order differential equation, and in this differential equation, this differential only one variable is there, that is phi. Okay, only other variables are eliminated. That is why separate this equation by variable, separation of variable. So this equation, it is known as the azimuthal part of Schrödinger equation for hydrogen atom. Okay, so now what we will do, we will separate the remaining part, that is theta and phi, and we will derive two equations, one depend upon r and one depend upon theta. Okay, so here you consider, since it is a constant term, okay, so this equation becomes, so equation 1 becomes what? In place of here you can write minus of m square. Okay, if we put this value on this equation, then this become m square. Now you divide this equation by sine square theta. If you divide this equation by sine square theta, then this equation becomes, both sides of this equation, then this equation becomes divide by sine square theta. So the equation remains as 1 by r d of r square d of r 8 pi square mr square. This sin theta will cancel out since we are dividing by sin square theta. H square e into z e square 4 pi epsilon naught into r, and here one sin theta will be there. Okay, plus sin theta divided by p no, the sin theta will remain in the denominator part, not in the numerator, of d theta sine of theta m square minus sine square theta. Now you see in this equation, the first part and the second part, it depends only on one variable, that is r, small r. Okay, whereas the third part, this third part and the fourth part, okay, this fourth term, it depends upon one variable, that is theta variable, theta dependent part. Okay, third and fourth part. So this equation will separate this equation into two different differential equation. One will depend upon r, whereas the other will solely depend upon theta. To make it two different differential equation, we will consider r. First we will consider which is a dependent r dependent function. It will change, okay, with respect to the change of r, and we will consider that this p function that depend upon theta, it will remain constant. Okay, So if we consider like that, then these two equations, from these two equations, the summation of the first part and the second part, okay, this part will remain the same and this part will become 0 because P is constant here. So dP by d phi, here it will 0. So this third part become 0. And the fourth part, since theta is constant, it will give you a constant value, minus of constant equal to 0. So summation of the first part and the second part, it is a constant value. Suppose this constant value it is beta and number it as equation number 3. Okay, now you put this value of equation 3 in the equation 2. If we put the value of equation, equation 3 in equation 1, what we will get? We will get that the summation of first part and the second part, it will give you a constant, okay, and the third part and fourth part, third term and the fourth term plus first term and second term, it is a constant value, okay, and that constant it is beta is equal to 0, and third part and fourth part is equal to minus of beta, numbered it as equation number 4. If you see this first term and second term, it only depend upon R. So this equation number 3 equation, it is called radial equation. I am not writing the first part and the second part in the equation. This is called radial equation or radial part of Schrodinger equation of hydrogen atom. Whereas the third part and the fourth part, it only depends upon one variable, that is theta dependent part, okay, theta variable. So this part is called polar part of Schrodinger equation. Polar part of Schrodinger equation. So we have got 3 differential equation. One is azimuthal, okay, this, and the other one is radial, and the other one is polar. Polar, it depends upon theta, and the azimuthal, it depends upon phi, while radial depend upon r, okay. These are the 3 differential equation we derive from the Schrodinger equation of hydrogen atom. In this video, I will not discuss the solution of these 3 equations. In the next video, we will discuss about the solution of radial part, and separately we will discuss in different videos the polar solution of polar part and the solution of the azimuthal part. So I am writing all the equation, what is the radial part, what is the polar part and the azimuthal part. So alright, so this is the Schrodinger equation of hydrogen atom in terms of polar coordinate, where psi is the function of r, theta and phi, and it can be expressed as a product of 3 functions, separate function r, p and f, okay. So we separate this equation into 3 parts. One is called radial part, polar part and the azimuthal part, where in radial part is dependent upon r, polar part dependent upon theta, it is dependent upon phi. So these are the 3 equations we are getting. These all are 3 differential equations. We are not going to the solution of these 3 differential equations, okay. The next video I will discuss about the radial part solution. So this is it for today's class, guys. I hope you have understand all the things I have discussed here. If you have any doubt, you can comment me on the comment section below. And if you are new to this channel, then subscribe our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. So guys, you can follow us on the Facebook also, and the link of Facebook page and the Facebook group is given in the description box. Okay guys, see you in the next video. Thank you.